Welcome to Faithing Out Loud. I'm Pastor Tony Ruth Smith, and this is my husband, Pastor Wesley Smith.
Hello.
And we are delighted that you're here to be with us as we think about what it means to live our lives out loud in the world in a way that honors Christ. Let's join the conversation. Well, good morning, friends. Welcome to Faithing Out Loud. Wes and I are having a little debate here. It is, as we're recording this before Thanksgiving, you will be hearing this the week after Thanksgiving.
And you said good morning. It could be good afternoon, good evening. It's morning for us right now.
You know, everybody really loves it when you're like this.
Pedantic?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's Advent, Wesley.
Indeed it is.
And you and I love us some Advent, and we think that it's important. And I don't know that enough Christians are doing it, because I'll tell you right now, I'm a little grumpy, but you are like super grumped about the fact that people have all the Christmas going on, and it's not even Thanksgiving. You were really pleased with that guy over there in downtown Mooresville that
Yes.
had an inflatable turkey in his yard.
It said Happy Thanksgiving, and I wanted to stop and knock on his door and shake his hand, because his decorations are seasonally appropriate. Now, as you're listening to this after Thanksgiving, once Advent has begun, it's a weird phenomenon, because when you're hearing this, I'm no longer grumpy.
But right now,
as we're recording this, I'm a little grumpy.
Well, you'll continue to be a little grumpy because you want people to celebrate Advent. So let's start with what Advent is. Let me catch everybody up to speed, and then we can talk a little bit about why it's important and why we don't want people to skip it.
Right.
So Advent just means arrival or coming of something, the advent of a new day, the dawn of something. And in the Christian calendar, the Christian New Year begins with the season of Advent. And Advent begins, it's the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas. So this year, that means Advent started on November the 30th. So the last Sunday of the Christian year is November the 23rd, or was November the 23rd. That's what we call Christ the King Sunday. We celebrate the reign of Christ. And then we move into Advent. And properly understood, Advent's talking about the coming of the Savior. And it doesn't mean just the first coming of the Savior, what we think of as Christmas, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem, but it also celebrates the second coming. It anticipates the second coming of Christ. So if you've ever been in church on the first couple Sundays of Advent, and your pastor's being Advent grumpy pants and not letting you sing any Christmas hymns, I've been that pastor. And all the texts talk about the moon turning to blood and the stars falling from the sky and John the Baptist out in the wilderness, and honey and locusts and all that stuff. And you were like, this is not putting me in the Christmas mood.
Right.
This podcast is for you, so you can understand what is Advent and why are we celebrating it.
And I think so on Halloween, October 31st, you and I went to run a few errands.
We did.
And we stopped into Lowe's.
And who should we meet but the Bumble?
We walked into Lowe's Hardware, and there was a 12-foot tall
Bumble from the Abominable
Snowman from Rudolph.
Yes.
And we were having a good time that day. I went from happy immediately to grumpy.
You did. That's true. Although I have to ask, I wonder if the Bumble has teeth. Is it pre or post the dentist elf getting a hold of him? You don't care.
You're asking Christmas questions, and Thanksgiving hasn't happened yet. But anyway, So like Halloween wasn't even finished yet, and Christmas decorations were out. And I understand the need to be prepared, but it really does seem like every year the celebration of Christmas or decorating for Christmas gets early and early. And honestly, I'm not really concerned about it in the culture. I just like to kind of complain.
Right, because that's the guy you are.
That's the guy I am. It's just kind of like, But I think it is important in the church and for us as Christians to observe kind of the seasons and the times, and I think the season of Advent is a helpful season about waiting and patience, but more positively about hope and anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
And truly, if you skip right from kind of fall, Thanksgiving kind of stuff, if you skip then right to Christmas, you're going to miss some opportunity to cultivate some things like patience and hope, and you're going to miss potentially not just the scriptures that you mentioned, like from Joel about the moon will turn to blood and all that kind of stuff, or John the Baptist, but you're also going to miss, I think one of my favorite passages in the Gospel of Luke is in chapter 1, so leading right up to the Christmas story. It's Zechariah.
Zechariah, yeah.
Where Luke 1:78 and 79, where Zechariah says, "By the tender mercy of our God, the dawn from on high will break upon us to give light to those who sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace." If you skip right from Thanksgiving right to Christmas, you're going to miss that period of hopeful waiting.
Right.
And one of the things we do not do in American culture, in the American church, and for most of us in our lives, one of the things that we are not good at is waiting for something.
Right. We are an instant gratification people.
Yes.
I mean, I blame Amazon because the truth is I can order it and it could be here tomorrow. It could frankly be here this afternoon if I really, really wanted to pay for it. So we don't wait for things. It'd be easy to say, well, that's because of the internet and blah, blah, blah. Like that's just perennial. People don't like waiting.
Yeah.
And we don't value the things that are learned and the things that are grown in the waiting, right? And so part of the, and to be clear, we absolutely have up Christmas decorations after Thanksgiving. We are absolutely singing Christmas songs prior to. So I'm not a literalist about this, meaning I don't have that sort of thing in me anymore that it's like, we're not going to celebrate. But I also think that you can have all that happening and still create some spiritual space in your personal life, in your family life. And certainly the church should be helping you do that, creating some spiritual space to do the work of the waiting, and to do the work of really thinking about what you're waiting and anticipating. Because when I was a kid, I thought I was waiting for, the thing I wanted out of the Sears Wish book.
Right.
But and certainly that's what our kids would have thought about, But to build that sort of anticipatory, what does the world most need, and what does it mean to cultivate the space to be mindful of the spiritual poverty into which Christ is still being born in our day and time?
I think by focusing on that, or putting intentionally putting our attention onto waiting and patience, and I think we can, part of our job as pastors and part of the job of the church and the season of Advent is to give people guidance for how to wait faithfully.
Right.
And I think not only waiting for something hopeful, not just for waiting for positive things to happen. I think there's some skills and some practices that it's important for Christians to learn. I was sitting here thinking about, reminded of times when we've had to wait for things that we didn't like or didn't choose or didn't want. Mm-hmm. And for example, I think you mentioned this past Sunday, maybe in your sermon week before last, about our daughter Mariana's heart surgery.
Right.
And that we found out she had surgery in June of, what was it?
2009.
2009, June of 2009. We found out in July of 2008
right,
that she was going to have that surgery. So we waited almost a year for her to have that surgery. That was 11 months
right,
of anticipation.
Right.
And I think if we don't have practices that help us to wait faithfully,
Right.
that waiting can turn to dread
Right.
or despair.
Right.
And so I think the season of Advent, and by practices, I mean like something as simple like teaching people how to do like breath prayers, or to teaching people ways to be reminded to be aware in the present moment.
Right.
Part of our difficulty in our culture, and part of the reason it's such an instant gratification, is we're always looking to the next. What's next? What's next? What's next? And I think one of our spiritual disciplines as Christians is kind of cultivating this deep awareness of the now, of being present here, now, today.
Right.
And that's what I kind of react against when on Halloween, before noon on Halloween, there are Christmas decorations out. Because we just can't, we struggle to be settled in the present.
And part of what we have to acknowledge, right, is that Christmas is not, there is cultural Christmas that is just everywhere. And you don't have to be a faithful, Jesus-following, baptized, church-going Christian to celebrate Christmas. The culture celebrates Christmas.
Yes.
And part of what our job is as Christian people is to be in that culture. And we're going to talk more about this, I think, but like to be part of that culture, but also not part of that culture. Right. So it's like me I say this all the time, my favorite, like it's not just that we need to remember that Christ came into the world, but why he came into the world. And I think that's part of what Advent helps us to do, is to remember the why we need Jesus, why Jesus was coming, and why we're waiting for him to come again. Because again, first coming, second coming, like what it is that we're waiting for. So here's my example, because y'all may not know this. My friend Philip says that I live my life in a minor key, because I like minor key songs, because I think minor keys are what makes music really interesting, in my opinion. So I love all those super minor key Christmas things, like Of the Father's Love Begotten, and Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silence. And some of you are like,
what child is this?
What child, right. But, okay, so in the song, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, which everybody knows and everybody sings, there is this verse that we never sing, that we should. Okay, right. So y'all remember, it came upon a midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to men, from heaven's all gracious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. So the world's waiting for the angels, right? And then it says, still through the cloven skies they come with peaceful wings unfurled. So like cloven, like divided.
Yeah.
And still their heavenly music floats o'er all the weary world. So the song of the angels is still singing over a very weary world. Above its sad and lowly plains, they bend on hovering wing, and ever o'er its Babel sounds, Babel as in the Tower of Babel, meaning all our mixed language, right? The blessed angels sing. And this is the verse that is never sung, and we need to hear it. This is what it says. It says, yet with the woes of sin and strife, the world has suffered long. Beneath the angel's strain have rolled. So beneath the angel's song have rolled 2,000 years of wrong. So sin continues to be alive in the world, right? And man at war with man hears not the love song that they bring. Oh, hush the noise, ye men of strife, and hear the angels sing. And that gives me chills every time I hear it, because I love that. Like if we could just be quiet enough, because the song of the angels isn't always loud. We want it to be trumpets and all that stuff, but it's a quiet song. It's like Elijah hears God in the silence, right? So what does it mean to cultivate at least a little bit of silence and anticipation, even if it's just on Sunday at church, even if you can do that in your home in those moments? My favorite moments during Christmas are early in the morning or late at night, sitting in front of the Christmas tree with the lights on and every other light in the house off. It kind of has that piece about it, but like man at war with man hears not the love song which they bring. It's a love song God's singing, hush your noise, you men of strife, and hear the angels sing. And then it goes on, and ye beneath life's crushing load, whose forms are bending low. So those of us, because, it's not like Christmas happens and nothing bad's going on in your life anymore. Right. Suddenly everything's peachy keen. Whose forms are bending low, who toil along the climbing way, who are toiling as we are walking on this journey of following Christ with painful steps and slow. Look now, for glad and golden hours come swiftly on the wing. O rest beside the weary road and hear the angels sing. For lo, the days are hastening on, by prophets seen of old. So the days are coming, the prophets told it. When with the ever-circling years, so like as time goes on, shall come the time foretold. So we're talking about second coming stuff. When Christ shall come, and all shall own the Prince of Peace their King, and saints shall meet him in the air, and with the angels sing. Right? So that song, if we let these hymns, and a lot of the hymns talk about that kind of stuff,
Right.
but they sort of help us to find that sort of grounded place where we can be quiet enough, which is what Advent's invitation is, so we can hear that song.
Right. And so I think that here at the start of Advent, I guess to faith out loud,
Right?
to practically live this out is, I think our work here at the start of Advent and the work we're inviting, if you who are listening to this, we invite you to do join us in doing this, would be to find some time. It can be as little as 5 minutes. Find some time to hush the noise, to find that stillness, and
Remember why he came.
remember why. Listen for the Spirit. Be aware of the present moment, whether that's things you're grateful for or things you need to lift up to God in prayer. And so
That's kind of hard when you're stressed out.
yeah, but
So maybe we should keep talking about it.
yeah. Thank you for listening to Faithing Out Loud. Be sure to like and subscribe if your platform allows that. We'll see you next time.